Alright guys, TacticalRab back again today. I hope you're all doing well and enjoying your day so far. Welcome back to Valorant News, and in the wake of a crazy day one at the North American Last Chance qualifier, ShahZaM has explained exactly why Sentinels fell short in their series against the Guards, what they're going to fix going forwards, but also reiterating to Zylsis that this tournament is far from over. Very much intrigued to your thoughts in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new as always, I'd greatly appreciate it. Really upset the channel. Thanks very much indeed for doing that one. First of all, wanted to mention this, that Vanity points out the fact that, well, simple mentions in the chat, you need to explain these players in Valo to stop over peeking. They play so stupid right now. There definitely was some ridiculous rounds, not just in the Sentinel series, but also in the FaZe versus Evil Geniuses series, where teams were just seemingly throwing away the map as much as they possibly could, but still somehow one team, I suppose, had to come out on top. So yeah, Simple was like, what am I even watching here? But at least he was watching, right? It was some crazy scenes that we had last night, there's no doubt. Just to mention real quick what's going on in the APAC region, we did see that Secret took down Order 2-1 to advance into losers round 4. So yes, of course, only one of these teams will qualify here through to the World Championship from the APAC Last Chance qualifier. And of course, also one team from the NALCQ. So last night we had Sentinels, their first game in quite some time, Shroud's professional debut. So was really looking forward to seeing how they would get on here, right? It felt like the Guards, obviously like a solid team as well. How much had Sentinels really improved? What were their strats actually looking like? Certainly on Icebox, they definitely left something to be desired. They do win the game one. Shroud gets a nice, well, he gets his first kill early on. There was a ridiculous stat line actually that was developing throughout this series where Shroud was looking good against everyone he played. But when he had a gunfight up against Trent, he got killed every single time. He, I believe, lost the first 22 engagements this series with Trent over the course of the 3 maps. So Shroud just could not kill him. He lost like, I think he was 22-0 Trent in his favor. And then Shroud finally kills him. He gets a couple more times as well at the end. So yeah, no one kills Shroud 23 times in a row. But apart from the Trent engagements, Shroud was really holding his own in this series, right? And it was good to see the other guys play well as well. Of course, Sentinels had a good start to their offense here on Breeze. It eventually, though, goes to overtime, and Shroud clutches up with a big, well, 3k in the end. I think he had like a 4k. He had some big rounds, actually, Shroud, and this was particularly nice as well at the end here to close out their final defense and win round 1, or win game 1. I'm sure the Guard probably think they should have won this map, to be honest, but Sentinels go to overtime, 15-13. They take game 1. The Guard do bounce back there here on Ascent, though. It's well, net making some good plays, 13-10 in the ends. And then, of course, look, another overtime was in the works over on Icebox. And it did look like for a time it was going to be relatively comfortable to the Guards. But, I mean, look, they go up like 8-4, I'm pretty sure, at the half. Sentinels bring it back in the ends, take it all the way to an overtime. And, yeah, TenZ actually goes pretty big in this deciding round to get to that point. But as you can see right here with what's happening on screen, that there was definitely some questionable decisions being made by the Sentinels team in terms of who was actually planting the spike. So Shroud was on the Viper, and of course dapr was on the Sage. So usually the plan would be you obviously have dapr to carry the spike and plant the bomb with the with the wall. You put the wall up, you get the bomb down, like it's very simple stuff. Whereas Shroud was effectively on bomb planting duty, despite the fact that like he really didn't have the best role for it, right? He's on the Viper and he's got to sit. I mean, look at this, what happens here, right? So the Viper wall goes up, Shroud gets the bomb down, but then as soon as the Viper wall fades, like he's just a completely sitting duck here in the open for side player to get the kill with the tour de force. Whereas if dapr plants the bomb with the Sage wall, then the Sage wall is there, like you can get away safely, all this type of stuff. So that seems like very basic strategy that for some reason Sentinels were not employing here in this game. They do eventually win this round, but there were many occasions where it cost them, right? Because it would take them so long to actually get the spike down that they would just be, the rotations were coming so fast, they'd just get utiled effectively off the bomb site and the Guard would do the retake. And that's pretty much what happens as the series closes out as well. This honestly still could have been a Sentinels victory though. I mean, look at this. The Guard actually threw this so badly. They had such a great opportunity here, but still, Shroud goes massive with a couple of kills. Like, Shroud in the clutch has still got it, there's no doubt. It's just, for some reason, they were not always putting him in situations to actually deliver the goods in a clutch setting, right? So I feel like Sentinels have got to think about how they deal with this one going forwards. And eventually, it is the Guard that come out on top. 2-1 over the Sentinels. Like, Valorant has some, well, pretty spicy word to say here. Come cry in the comments, he says. And even Trent goes on to say here, keep sending me death threats and saying how bad I am. I fiend off the haters, right? So, I mean, yeah, I guess some bad Apple fans, once again, just sending some stupid stuff to these pro players. Like, well, hopefully that doesn't happen again. But still, they were taking their own out on it, and fair enough, right? Because they won the series. It was a good clutch from the Guard. They proved that they're the marginally better team here, and I feel like Sentinels will be ruining their mistakes from this series that they, of course, could have got through this one and made the start of their winners bracket run. This was the thing from Angel, right? I think that FPX Angel was looking at this thing and look, this Shroud guy, like, still obviously has got the talent and got the ability, but they're putting him in these situations where he just is playing this very heavy support role and not really being able to deliver the goods in a clutch setting. He's like, look, please someone else plant the bomb. If he survives after the plant, like, he's going to get the clutch, right? So people are like, look, just let Shroud actually clutch up the rounds, let dapr plant the bomb, and, you know, make that the setup for Sentinels, right? That's not what they decide to go with in the end, and as TenZ says, like, GG's, super close game, but yeah, close doesn't count at the end of the day. So I wanted to share a couple of clips here from ShahZaM, where he's kind of responding to Zelsis, saying, look, it's not over yet, we've just got to play better next match and make the losers bracket run. It's still possible, albeit however unlikely it is to make that run all the way through the losers bracket to win the entire tournament and qualify for champions, but also saying that, like, look, that play they made with Viper on Icebox was not the way to go. For some reason, they kept making that mistake round after round. I'm sure ShahZaM's probably got to take some responsibility from that as the IGL, but he says, look, he can't really explain why it happened. They just made that mistake, and it was a costly one.
What's the strategy behind letting Shroud play every round as Viper? Oh, yeah. I'm sure you heard, you know, someone on stream said that. Why is that happening? Now people are blaming Rockets for me. I'm not responsible for every individual decision that's made. It's supposed to be the Sage, yes, dapr planning the spike. I don't know why it wasn't. I don't know what went wrong. They talked about it. They said they don't know either. But obviously this mistake will never happen again because it's such a big mistake, right? We're getting the Sage wall down. Then we had to wait so long for Viper to plant the spike. They all rotated and we were getting util dumped. It was a mistake. It was a bad mistake. Sage just should always be the one planting. It's very obvious. But I don't know. We failed on that. What do you want me to say? Bro, Jordan. It's okay, man. It's okay. No, I do understand. If anyone understands, I understand, okay? That's good. It's okay. Hey. It's okay.
Hey.
Don't stress it. I'm like your dad? Yeah, dude. Yeah, I mean, you were on a pro team, but, like, I'm saying, like, dude, it's gonna happen. But that's not, like, the reason we lost, right? Like, it's okay. It's just okay, bro. You're gonna have things that go your way and things that don't go your way. Bro, I lost for a long time until I won. It's literally, there's nothing you can do but play better next time. That's it. Then sleep good tonight, bro. It's okay. We bounce back Saturday.
If I swear to God, if there's any mother in this chat that thinks Sentinels should have won this game, you are brain dead. Guard deserved to win this game. They should have won map 1, and they should have won this map way earlier. Y'all crazy otherwise. But Sentinels actually played so well. That I'll give them. They actually are. Their comps are really good. For the first match with Shroud, they played really, really well. And my takeaway is the fact that they were able to play those comps at such a level while having very little match experience with 2 players is pretty impressive. So I will give that to Sentinels, but they should have lost this game years ago. That is my analysis on this game. Like, Guard was the better team. They did not get lucky winning this. They were the better team the entire way. They should have already won Breeze.
I also shared a brief clip there from FNS, right, where he talked about the series and said, look, despite the fact that Sentinels theoretically were close to winning this series, like, at the Guard should have won it more easily than they did. But he was saying he was rather impressed with how Sentinels have fit Shroud into their structure relatively quickly. But yeah, as you can see, Trent takes over the series, Shroud minus 20, but I feel like that kind of underrates his performance here. Just wanted to mention that crazy stat actually as well here. If we look at the performance numbers, you can see that Trent against Shroud was 22-3 against Shroud this series, and he started off with a much better scoreline than that. So that was kind of an absurd, like, a statistical anomaly, let's just say. This also to mention, I thought was kind of spicy here from Lagia. This is the coach of Bleed Esports, currently doing well in the APAC LCQ. He says the following: NA Valorant has the same issue they had in CS. He says so many talented players. Other than a few people like Chet, Sean Gers, Daph, Zeus, and James, they have the worst coaching in history, which is quite the statement really. And he tweeted this out, I believe, shortly after the Sentinel series, such that you'd imply he's talking about Raucus, right, and the coaching that isn't particularly good, and maybe directing some of that towards the idea of, like, not having the Sage to plant the bomb. And it's like, okay, you know, what is the coach doing if they're still doing that round after round, and yet they're not changing up their ideas? So maybe Lagia's got a point. He's the coach of that team. He reckons that some of these coaches are pretty terrible, maybe pinning some of the blame on Raucus for this loss. But I suppose let's see how the losers bracket run goes first. Let's talk about the second series, which was honestly probably more insane, was FaZe versus Evil Geniuses. Like, honestly, for the first 2 games of the the LCQ to be like this. It's like, who is going to win this tournament, man? It seems so unpredictable. FaZe win this series against Evil Geniuses. EG are a very solid team. Like, they'll be kind of frustrated they didn't win this one. Nice flick here from Boostia early on, and they actually go on to win that game 1. FaZe bounce back in game 2 on the breeze, take it all the way to a third map, and like, honestly, the amount of rounds that separated the teams in all these games was just ridiculously small. EG again up 11-7 right here on the final map. Eventually FaZe win this round and take it to, well, 11-8 of course, and then FaZe start to mount the comeback a bit further, but they honestly came from quite a way behind to tie this series up, take it to an overtime. Who is surprised, honestly? And they lose an unbelievable number of clutches in this overtime. They lost a 2v1, 3v2 retake, 5v3, another 5v3, and still somehow Evil Geniuses decided to throw it right back at them and throw away some rounds as well. So this goes to like, what, 5 or 6 different overtimes. Eventually it's 19-17 in FaZe's favor on the Ascent. So what a ridiculous map. I mean, look at all this, right? FaZe won the overtime on game 2. They win the overtime on game 3. Yes, they clutched up, but they were trying to throw the series away, it felt like at times. What an insane start to the tournament. But yes, FaZe do advance on to the next round, and Superman was the real demolition job player on that Ascent game 3. Put this guy in an LCQ, and it seems like he's always going to deliver. These were the final series numbers, right? Superman plus 33, but it really was that Ascent where he just dominated. 40-22 in the end. Dicey turned up as well, definitely worthy of mention here, because he's been incredibly consistent lately and has delivered the goods. Even babybay had a great performance as well. And Evil Geniuses, I thought, played great team Valorant, but just in the end didn't quite have enough, right, over all these maps, right? When push came to shove in the clutch rounds, they just didn't quite have what it takes, right? To FaZe advance, they were my pick to win this entire tournament, and they definitely did not make it easy for themselves. So the Guard are in the upper semis, as are FaZe Clan, and then the losers games at Sentinels, Evil Geniuses, they will play, I believe Sentinels play the loser of Shopify Rebellion and Cloud9. Evil Geniuses play the loser of NRG 100 Thieves. Those are the games of today. My predictions so far have, of course, been pretty terrible, but I'm going to take Cloud9 and I think 100 Thieves to win these two series respectively. That's at least what I said yesterday, but you can be sure that there's going to be some game 3s and some overtimes in this one to spice things up a little bit. But very much enjoyed your thoughts and all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new as always, take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.